Greetings, folks. The professor here just got back about 2 days ago from the IFA USAA Nationals in Joliet, Illinois. And since I'm leaving tomorrow for the sit down nationals in Yorktown, Virginia, I figured I'd try to squeeze this month's report in between those two. Yes, besides the sit downs that are taking place on Saturday, there's also the Ohio State Rumble in Columbus, Ohio. But talked about both of those last month, so I'm not really going to say much about that since both do start within 2 days, and probably you've decided by now whether you're going to it or not. So let's just hop right in and move a little bit forward here. The week after this coming weekend, namely the 29th April, actually, I don't know of anything going on. Oh my God, there's no tournament that weekend. What am I going to do with myself? Probably what I'm going to end up doing is maybe running up to New York State and visiting the Outlaws for their practice because I haven't been there for a while. But the week after that, we're getting into May, and there are a number of things going on. The first one I want to talk about is on the 6th of May, is something that did not appear on the list last month because actually last month it hadn't existed yet. And that is the Battle at Antietam, which 98% is running at the Antietam Brewery in Hagerstown, Maryland. That's not supposed to be confused with the Battle of Antietam, which was a Civil War battle in 1862, which was the bloodiest single day in American military history, with almost 23,000 dead, wounded, or missing. But we are going with the Civil War motif. And in fact, if you look at our poster for this one, you may recognize somebody. Specifically, the Confederate on the poster is our own Mike Mignogna, and the Unionist is his son. They apparently are both Civil War reenactors. But to get to the Battle of Antietam, or excuse me, the Battle at Antietam instead, what we're going to be doing is 98 is going to be running a series of smaller tournaments throughout the year. By smaller, I don't necessarily mean small, but certainly smaller than Winter Blast, which we just came off, which had 501 entries. And so this is the first of those. These will be used for a basically classification for a league. We're going to be basically setting up a 98 league, and the rankings, ratings, whatever you want to call them, will be based on your participation at and performance at 98 events. So we're going to have several of those between the Winter Blasts, and we'll be adding some more after that. But this is the first one of those. What we will have at this one is a total of 6 pro classes, 6 amateur classes, both of which will start at 154. The standard classes with the supers being 243 plus. We'll also have 2 masters classes splitting at 200. Women's classes, 4 women's classes. Masters, by the way, 49 plus in this particular case. 4 women's classes. Kids classes will be determined by how many show up, but kids pull free at that. And so, as I say, that is the 6th of May, and that's $30 per arm is the registration for that. The week following that, 2 things I want to talk about. The first one, strictly speaking, is not in the Northeast, and strictly speaking is not on the 13th. But the U.S. Nationals leading to the Team USA going to the WAF Worlds, which are taking place this August and September in Almaty, which is the capital of Kazakhstan, is taking place at the Hilton Kansas City Airport. The weigh-ins are on the 11th and 12th, the actual competition on the 13th. Like a lot of the worlds, including a lot of the nationals, they have a gazillion classes. In this case, there's going to be over 40 actually classes at that, both men's, pro, amateur, masters, grandmasters, senior grandmasters, and so forth, and women as well. The somewhat interest here in that the men's pro classes don't start at 154 or even 143 or 132, but start at 55K, which is 121 pounds. So if you are, the strongest 121 pounder, and are sick and tired of pulling 154s, let alone 176s, you might want to take a look at that. But standard weight classes going up to, the heavies, but once again, starting at 55K, which is 121. Amateur is starting at 154. Master's classes, master is, which I don't know the age, I presume probably 40. That's standard, starts at 132. And then Grandmaster, Senior Grandmasters starting at 154. So as I say, that's the also the weekend of it's the weekend of the 13th in Kansas City. Also, the weekend of the 13th, one I will be at is the East Ohio Garage Wars Supermatch Series. That's been organized by the East Ohio group, specifically Billy Collins. And that will be, as the name suggests, a series of super matches, not a brackets tournament per se, followed by practice, after poll, and so forth and so on. Actually, a total of 30 super matches, most of which will be best of 5. There are a few that are best of 3. The list is out, some really excellent pullers there, also some really wretched pullers, namely me. But I have 2 super matches left against a gent who's 25 years of age, I believe, and the other one also from the East Ohio group that is still in high school. So if you want to show up and see how a 72-year-old fares against a 17-year-old, it will be there. If you can't show up, it will be live streamed. And as I say, so that's the 13th in East Liverpool, Ohio. The week after that will be the Jason Vale Memorial, which is taking place at a brewery, specifically the Great South Bay Brewery in Bay Shore, New York, which is out on Long Island. As with last year's, which was the first Jason Vale Memorial, this is an all-strap tournament. Jason Vale was a strap master, and so that will be all rounds will start in the strap there. They will have 6 classes pro, 5 classes amateur, both starting at 154, the standard weight classes. The difference being that amateurs, supers will start at 221 plus, whereas pro will have a 221 to 242, and supers will start at 243 plus. Women's amateur and pro, women's amateur open, women's pro, 2 classes splitting at 154, and also 3 classes of masters, masters being 49 plus in this case, the 3 classes being 185, 220, and 221 plus. This, incidentally, just on a personal note, is the tournament I was at last year when some troll announced to the world that I was dead. Obviously, this person was misinformed, and it was indeed gratifying to see the number of people that were relieved that, I was still with us. So who knows what's going to happen this year. But as I say, that is the 20th. The next week, the 27th, is Memorial Day weekend. I don't know of anything going on that weekend in the Northeast, although a lot of people will probably be resting up for the weekend following, which is June the 3rd, when there's 2 big items, specifically the Michigan States and also the East versus West finals, which are taking place in Delaplane, Virginia. That's Virginia, thank you, not West Virginia, like I keep seeing people talk about it. Travis Bajan had his first event a couple of years ago, first of the recent ones, near his home in West Virginia. So everybody, for some reason, seems to think all of these are taking place in Virginia, or in West Virginia rather, but they are not. They're in Virginia. So besides those 2 large events, Robert Wilson will also be running a somewhat smaller event than those in Greenville, Pennsylvania. But I'll talk about all 3 of those next month. So in any case, that is about it for this month. I hope to see you at one of those. As I say, it will at the one on the 6th of May in Hagerstown, Maryland, the 13th in East Liverpool, Ohio, or the week week after that to Jason Vale on Long Island on the 20th, or even if you are planning on showing up at sit downs, which takes place 2 days from when I'm recording this, I'll see you there. Hope to see you at one of them.